I used to say, I don't want kids, and I don't think I ever will. While my girlfriends talked about marriage and starting a family, I felt completely indifferent to it. Until about 6 months ago, something started to shift. So let's talk about it. When I was growing up, I would always put people in boxes. It's bad, but it's what I did. That helped me make sense of the world. So I would put some women in the box of, okay, you are the marriage kind. You want to have children. You are the career type. You are the nice and ladylike. You are the strong and cold one. And because I would put other people in boxes, I would put myself in a box as well, right? Remember this, just a side note. Whatever someone is doing to others, they're doing that to themselves. So if they're judging the world, if they're judging people, they're judging themselves. And I would see this type of traditional family. By traditional, I kind of mean stereotypical woman. And I would think, okay, I do not fit in that, so that's not my path. I am more determined. I think about career. I think about, what I want to achieve in life. So I don't see children in all of that. About 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I made a video here on this channel where me and Gus answered different questions about our future, about our relationship. And one of the questions was, when are you thinking about starting a family? And I think I said something like 33, 35. P.S. I'm 26 now. And you can see, actually, if you watch those videos, I was in a different mindset about family, about children. And note, I say different, I don't say bad. And that's all because I had a very stereotypical, specific idea of what having children looks like. I didn't have an easy childhood, not in a sense of like privilege. In fact, I was super, super, super privileged, more privileged than other kids. I had everything that I needed, so don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about that, but difficult in a sense of relationship with my parents and specifically like relationship with my mom, in some instances relationship with my dad as well. Because I had that and no one ever sort of taught me how to deal with my emotions, I think the minute I grew up, or around 17 or 18, I thought, I don't want all that. I don't want the messiness. I don't want the idea of someone else telling me how I should be. I also resented the idea that women should stay at home. You can watch my other videos where I talk about the sort of feminism idea that women having children is very anti-feminist and all of that. Of course, it's not true, but I'm just saying where I came from. I thought that that's the old way, that's the traditional way, and the new way is just career and pumping through and all of that. Until something started to shift around 6 to 7 months ago, and it started to shift because I started to heal my places that needed to be healed. I started to lean back into my femininity. Again, you can watch those videos where I talk about femininity because it has healed me deeply as a woman. And I started to reevaluate, what does womanhood mean to me? And the most important question that I think I asked myself was, why do you think you need to be like anybody else? It was one conversation I was having with my friend, and she said, but like, Ilva, you create your own family. You create, your world the way you want to create it. And I always knew this, and that's the silly part. I always knew this. I mean, I create everything in my life exactly how I want to. I talk to you guys and say, you should create your life the way you want to. But I don't know why, when it came to family and children, I saw it differently. The minute I dropped a lot of labels I had put on myself, the minute I started to think more about what actually matters in life deeply, deeply, but what matters to me, not what matters to the world, what matters by society standards, but what actually comes first. And I started to think about me and Gus. I started to think about our relationship and how through every single career moment I've had, or every single dream or anything, the one constant that has been with me is him. The idea of spending time together, the idea of someday having a family suddenly started to sound so beautiful. And I think it started to sound beautiful because it no longer was an idea of someone else's family. We started to have discussions of our family. What would our family look like? What would we do? How would we spend our time, which brings me to my next point. Maturing is important. I am kind of against young motherhood. I believe that maturing is so important in motherhood. And yes, sometimes there are 20-year-olds who are mature enough, but very, very rarely. And I think timing is so important. If I would have had a baby at 20, when I absolutely didn't want a baby at all, of course I would have managed, of course I would have loved the baby, but I wouldn't have been ready. And I think a big part of me would feel like, okay, what did I lose and all of that? And if there's something about me that I'm sure of, is how I plan everything in my life, and I believe in the right timing. And everything I've done in my life, I've kind of done it at the right timing. There's no such thing as perfect timing, but there is right timing. And I believe now that I'm starting to think about children, which means that I am thinking about this more seriously, you know, I might have in the next 3 or 4 years, I will be mature enough to actually go there. And I think it's important to wait, and I think it's important to listen to your heart. If you are a woman who's at fence about having children, don't do it just because society is saying you should do it. There's no such thing as how you as a woman should live. I talk a lot about femininity and about feminine energy and what is feminine, what is masculine, but it's more than what you do or how you look like. It's the energy you have inside. And we all have both of those energies, and it's important to balance them out. And if you have a strong desire or a feminine or a womanly desire to have children, absolutely have them. But if you don't, then there's no point in rushing. I never desired a baby, but I do now desire a human life. I never had the baby fever. I still kind of don't have the baby fever. If I see a baby, I don't feel anything unless it's like a relative baby or someone close to me. I'm more happy about them having a baby and all of that. But I never desired having a baby. And I think that made me think that I don't want to have children. Until I realized, again, now that I'm in this phase, that the idea of creating a human together with my man, who I love very much, is actually more important to me and more fascinating than just a baby. It's not gonna be a baby forever, it's gonna be a human. And I am more excited in the future about the phase where my daughter or son is like talking age, 9 or 10, and then teenage years where I can create conversations with him or her and see how they're growing up and seeing the world. I'm more excited about that phase than just a baby. Babies are cute, don't get me wrong, but creating a human seems just more like mind-blowing. I've heard so many stories, kind of horror stories, how women lose themselves when they have a baby. I mean, physically, emotionally, spiritually. They don't take care of them physically. They don't take care of themselves physically because they don't have the time or the energy. And that always scared me. It always scared me because I felt like my world is so important to me. And maybe that's selfish, but creating my dreams, giving something to the world doesn't seem selfish to me, even though it is coming from me. And it's a touchy subject. I know there's a lot of mom shaming online, so many weird things. I sometimes see women who are mothers who take care of themselves really, really well. They still wear heels and go around with strollers. And then I look at the comments and women are saying, you should post realistic pictures. This is not what motherhood looks like. And I just think like, wow. Why would you say that? That is so amazing that she has put in that effort. It's probably not easy to like glam up when you have a little baby, but she has done that. Why would you put other women down? So I think that's where all this fear came from. This idea that I should only be that type of mother. I should neglect my looks and lose myself and lose all my hobbies to be a mother. And I obviously don't know yet how my world is gonna turn out, but I've seen very similar type of women like I am in my mindset, very determined and motivated, who, yes, have struggles, but they keep their lives. And I think that has inspired me and opened my eyes that I can be my own version of a mother, and I don't have to be like anyone else. And I think that's very, very liberating. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about, that I wanted to share with you guys for such a long time. Ever since I started to do the femininity series and talk about womanhood, I thought, okay, this is the next step to talk with you about children, because it's such a big part of a woman's life. And I just find it fascinating how much things can shift. How 2 years ago I can be like, no children, no thank you. And then now for the last couple of months, just think about, okay, family and how it looks like and where I want to be. It's magical how you can grow and change, and how your hobbies, interests, values can shift. It's fascinating. It really, really is. But thanks so much, guys, for joining me in today's, I hope I was in focus, in today's combo about children and babies. If you have anything to add to this, feel free to comment below. But thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.